I mean this in the nicest way possible, but this is just flat out bad riding. Not only is it bad riding, but it is extremely unfortunate and damaging that this trainer is continuing to promote this position and teach this position to so many different riders while completely ignoring how damaging this position is to both horse and rider. Hi, hello, and welcome back to the Inside Track. Today, we are going to be talking about a creator over on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram that goes by the username StableRiding. Now, StableRiding has ruffled a lot of feathers when trying to promote their new riding position across all social media platforms. And on one hand, I want to support their effort in trying to change the industry for the better, especially when it comes to supporting how certain riders do not fit the mold of certain position and certain styles of riding. However, to blatantly ignore rider and horse biomechanics can become extremely problematic very, very quickly. And it seems like this rider and creator and professional trainer is completely ignoring those important facts. Now, before we get into it, I thought I'd give a little bit of a backstory just so we are all on the same page in terms of who this person is, what this account is used for, and what their goals are when it comes to creating and platforming this position. StableRiding is a lesson and training program in Ohio where trainer Solange, I'm really sorry if I mispronounced your name, offers a unique training approach. Her riding and training program specializes in beginner riders, but she does claim to teach all the way through advanced jumping, helping with fox hunting and advanced trail riding. She claims that her riding position approach is the first of its kind and aims to help riders stay on through all phases of riding on the trail, on a hunt, and in the arena. The problem? She's promoting the chair seat. Now, for those of you that don't know, riding in a chair seat is basically where you're riding super far back with your legs stretched super far forward. And this can be problematic for not only the rider, but especially the horse. After speaking with Solange from StableRiding, there were a lot of shocking reasons as to why she decided to promote this type of riding, this type of position. The first reason why Solange decided to teach this position is because she wants to create a more balanced horse. It is very common for horses to want to travel on the forehand. Now, what she claims is that this position allows the horse to travel in a more balanced way by throwing their balance off their forehand and into the hind end due to gravity. Which isn't entirely wrong, and I can understand the thought process here. Horses do travel on the forehand, and that can be problematic for their overall biomechanics. However, if you're ultimately admitting that the only way your horse becomes balanced is through a rider riding in an unbalanced position, that's extremely problematic, and you should address that. This chair seat puts way too much pressure on the horse's back and stops the horse from being able to actually engage properly. Now, the second reason why Solange decides to promote this riding position, and this may come to a shock to you, is that she believes that a horse traveling in a frame is just for looks and not actually correct. When I read this, I was truly shocked and honestly very disappointed. To genuinely believe that there is no purpose in having your horse put together properly other than it just looking pretty is... I'm truly speechless. She then goes on to defend why she hasn't put her horses in frames in the last decade, and it's because the horses she has in her barn are quote-unquote incapable of being ridden like so. Also, using the excuse that you cannot put the horse in a quote-unquote frame because you switched to bitless riding is also totally false. You can get a horse round and connected completely tackless. It's all about proper self-carriage. All horses are capable of traveling with their top line lifted and engaged. It might not look like Olympic level dressage, but to prefer your horse be ridden with his head high and back hollow, all while grinding into their back with your little bottom, the longevity of your horse's riding career will become a heck of a lot shorter. To have a horse travel in a way with their back engaged, their core engaged, pushing from the hind end and dropping low in the head, that creates a very happy and strong horse. If your horse does not travel in this way or does not travel in this way enough, then that creates a lot of problems in the future for you and your horse. The next thing that came to mind when I saw this position, I really questioned the rider's ability to effectively communicate to their horse through their aids. And Solange claims that her aids are just as effective, if not more effective, in this chair seat position than it is in a neutral position. When in reality, aids should take the rider milliseconds, less than milliseconds, to perform, and it should be done in small gestures, not long sweeping gestures. Think of your horse's sides as a long list of elevator buttons. Now think of your seat and leg and each different position it has to create a certain button that takes you to a certain level or destination. If a rider knows what spot has what button, it's extremely easy to find those buttons through small and direct gestures. When riders do big sweeping gestures like how Solange demonstrates here in this video, it's like riders are pulling a move from the Elf movie where Buddy presses all of the elevator buttons.
Looks like a Christmas tree.
It's ultimately very confusing to the horse as to what you're trying to communicate, and it kind of is annoying to deal with because each aid is big and exaggerated and doesn't promote a clear aid as to where the horse needs to go. Now, the last and biggest claim that Solange from StableRiding makes is that this position helps the rider stay as secure as possible. Now, whether a horse spooks, goes bucking and bronking, or just has way too much fun out on a fox hunt, Solange claims that this position keeps the rider balanced and off of the ground and in the saddle. Now, if we're talking about riders that know how to sit a buck and know how to stay on their horse, let's look at the professionals, the bronc riders. Now, when we look at bronc riders, there are many moments when the rider is sitting very far back and leg very far forward. But there's also moments when the rider is sitting very far forward with their legs in back of them. But what's the difference between that and the chair seat? The bronc rider moves with the motion of the horse, which helps the rider stay on. The chair seat directly disrupts that motion and acts like a stick in the mud. Now, the reason why the neutral riding position is so great for riding is because 99.9% of the time you will be riding a neutral horse. Unless you're a bronc rider, you're not going to be sitting on all these horses that are having all of these problems. And if you are, please look into that. That shouldn't be a thing, and it really shouldn't be normalized either. Now, is it important to know how to change your riding position in an effort to keep you on when a horse is going crazy? Absolutely. But to promote this position is encouraging riders to think that they need to constantly be thinking on their feet and not trusting their horse. It's also my understanding a lot of the reason why she creates this position is it allows for different types of riders, possibly disabled riders, to ride in a way that's more comfortable for them. And on one hand, again, I can understand and I want to support that theory and that thought process altogether. However, if you are riding in a way that puts your comfort over your horse's comfort, you don't deserve to be riding. And I know that that's a hard pill to swallow, but there are plenty of para-Olympic riders who ride in a way that still promote that harmonious partnership between horse and rider without neglecting the horse's comfort and biomechanics. While your riding position may come in various different styles based on subtle differences, so that way you can cater your position to your body type and your disabilities, it should never come at the cost of your horse's comfort and their ability to move properly and effectively. Do not fall for her sales scheme in trying to make this position seem more adaptable to riders that are disabled, riders that are built different, and or riders that are needing a more stable riding position. We already have that. It's called equitation. Now, before I get into why it's problematic for both horse and rider, I'm going to be going over just very basic terms and basic reasonings as to why it's problematic for horse and rider. So if you have anything else to add, feel free to do so in the comments. I'd be very curious to see what else you guys might have thought of. Now, why is it bad for the horse? First of all, it puts a lot of pressure on the horse's lumbar spine. Now, if your saddle is correctly fitted to your horse, your saddle should not be in harm's way in terms of messing with your horse's lumbar spine. However, if you ride too far back with your weight in the back of the saddle, like what StableRiding is promoting, it can interfere with the lumbar spine, and it can create a lot of soreness and stiffness across the horse's back. The second reason why riding in a chair seat position is bad for the horse is because it disrupts your horse's balance and movement. A horse uses its back, core, and hind end to push forward and carry themselves. When a rider is sitting too far back, it makes it really difficult for the horse to lift its back, engage its core, and move properly. The third reason why it's important to try not to ride in a chair seat position is because it creates an improper saddle fit while also creating saddle soreness. Think about it. Saddles are designed to distribute weight properly over the horse's back and over the horse's rib cage. Sitting that far back changes the way the pressure lands and changes the way the saddle is supposed to be fitting, which causes rubs, stiffness, and soreness. Now, why is sitting in a chair seat position bad for the rider? First and foremost, there's a huge loss of stability when we're sitting in a chair seat position. When your legs are too far forward, you physically are working against your horse's movement. When we're riding, the whole purpose of having a strong leg, seat, and core is to not only help us remain on the horse and not in the ground, but it's to also make sure that we're communicating to our horse in a way that makes sense. Now that kind of leads us to our second point, being that this chair seat promotes a very poor use of aids. The chair seat directly limits your ability to use your seat, your core, and your legs properly and effectively. Your legs cannot properly wrap around your horse to better support them. Your seat bones are not aligned in a way that follows the horse's motion, and your core is not in a position that allows you to stay balanced on top of your horse. It also encourages a rider to rely too much on their hands in an effort to try to balance themselves, because they do not feel as secure due to their lack of stability within their lower leg and lack of stability within their seat and their core. Which also leads us into our third reason as to why the chair seat becomes problematic for the rider, is it leads to gripping and tension. Without balance from your core, stability from your lower leg, and the ability to move properly with your horse's motion, this may create tension in your hips, gripping with the knee and gripping with the hands while holding on to your horse's face, which ends up creating just the worst case scenario for both horse and rider. Remember the importance of what it means to have a proper position. We don't teach it for nothing. Remember, having proper position and having proper equitation helps everyone. It helps you as the rider to stay on, and it helps you to communicate to your horse. A neutral, balanced position has your ear, hip, and heel all in alignment. This classical type of position is extremely important for all riders, disabled or not, because it allows the rider to stay centered over the horse's center of gravity, and it allows the rider to be able to move with the horse rather than against it, and it allows the rider to have clear and effective aids. All of this creates a harmonious horse and rider partnership. There are a lot of moments where Solange from StableRiding responds to very hateful comments with the utmost respect and kindness to that person. And I applaud her for that. However, to blatantly ignore a lot of concern towards this position is extremely harmful. It's not judgmental or harmful to say that this type of position is inherently bad for the horse. It's also not judgmental or hateful to say that promoting this position while ignoring all the studies done on the importance of rider position is extremely concerning. You saying that there's no data to back up the idea that this position is harmful to the horse is extremely false. There are many, many studies done on this very, very subject. And the fact that you continue to ignore that is extremely damaging to all of your students and all of their horses. Shame on you. With all that being said, this is seriously no hate to StableRiding or Solange. It's just really important that we do address these very real issues and how our position can negatively impact our horse's well-being. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment down below giving me your thoughts and your opinions on this whole entire situation. I'd love to hear them. And without further ado, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!